Welcome to Minimalist Living Lab. I'm Evan Hart. Here, we explore the art of living simply and creating space for what truly matters. Today, let's begin our journey with a fundamental truth. Minimalism isn't just about getting rid of things. It's about making space in your home, your mind, and your heart. When you hear the word minimalism, what comes to mind? Maybe you imagine a house with bare walls and a single chair. Maybe you think of someone living out of a suitcase, owning fewer than 100 items. But that's just one surface-level version of minimalism. True minimalism is deeper. It's about choosing intentionality over accumulation, presence over distraction, meaning over noise. Minimalism is not a rigid rulebook. It's a quiet rebellion against a culture that tells you that you are never enough unless you have more. I didn't come to minimalism because I was naturally organized. I wasn't seeking an aesthetic. I was seeking relief. At one point, my life was full of things, tasks, obligations, and noise. There were clothes I didn't wear, emails I didn't answer, goals I didn't even care about anymore. And somehow, with all of it, I felt heavier, more trapped, not freer. I remember standing in my apartment, looking around, and thinking, how did all of this end up owning me? The books, the gadgets, the furniture, the calendars full of must-dos, none of it brought the peace I thought it would. That realization, simple, quiet, but undeniable, became the doorway into my minimalist journey. We often chase more because we believe it will finally make us feel enough. But ironically, the more we accumulate, the emptier we often feel. Psychologists have found that clutter isn't just a visual nuisance. It's deeply psychological. It fragments our attention. It stresses our nervous system. It whispers to us daily. You have more to do. You are behind. You are not enough. No wonder we feel exhausted even when we're standing still. Minimalism is not just a cleaning method, it's a healing practice. It's the conscious decision to clear away the excess, physically, mentally, emotionally, so that we can come home to ourselves. Let's think beyond stuff for a moment. What about the mental clutter? The endless to-do lists, the unmade decisions, the invisible pressure to be everything for everyone? Mental clutter is even heavier than physical clutter. It drains our energy without us even realizing it. Minimalism asks a radical question. What if you don't have to do everything? What if you don't have to be everything? What if your worth isn't measured by your busyness or your output? Minimalism invites us to make space for real joy, for real connection, for real rest. Because when we strip away the noise, what's left is the life we were too distracted to notice before. Let's talk about practical beginnings. Where do you start? Not with a dumpster. Not with guilt. Not with trying to become a perfect minimalist overnight. You start small. You start where you are. Maybe today, you clean out a single drawer. Maybe this week, you set a boundary with one obligation that drains you. Maybe tonight, you leave a little extra space on your calendar, just for you. Here's one exercise I love. The one drawer challenge. Pick any drawer in your home, your nightstand, a kitchen drawer, your desk. Take everything out. Hold each item and ask, does this item serve a purpose in my life? Does it bring me joy or support who I am becoming? If the answer is no, think it and let it go. Start with one drawer. And notice, it's never just about the drawer. It's about reclaiming agency over your space and your life. Another favorite minimalist practice: the Sunday reset. Every Sunday, take 30 minutes. Clean up one area, your inbox, your closet, your mind. Reflect. What can I release this week? What can I say no to so I can say yes to something deeper? It's simple. But simple is powerful. Simple creates ripples that change the whole tide of your life. One more tool: the hell yes test. Whenever a new opportunity, event, or purchase comes into your life, pause and ask, is this a full body yes for me? If not, it's a no. Minimalists live by hell yes or no. Because every yes you give to something meaningless steals energy from what matters most. Right now, I want you to imagine 5 years from today. You've let go of half the physical clutter. You've cleared out the invisible expectations. You've stopped carrying dreams that aren't even yours. You wake up in a space that feels light, clean, intentional. You have time, real time, for creativity, love, stillness. You are no longer defined by what you own, but by who you are. What would that feel like? Can you feel even a small taste of it right now? That is the invitation of minimalism. Not to have less, but to live more. Minimalism isn't about emptiness. It's about clarity. It's about holding space for the sacred, for connection, for beauty, for breath. Minimalism isn't about scarcity. It's about abundance, the real kind. Abundance of time. Abundance of freedom. Abundance of meaning. But even now, you might be thinking, what if I can't do this? What if I live with a big family? What if my job demands so much of me? What if I'm not naturally organized, or disciplined, or calm? And to that, I'd say, you don't need perfection. You need permission. Permission to begin. To begin imperfectly. To begin in your own way. Minimalism is not a contest. No one's keeping score. There's no prize for the emptiest closet or the most austere schedule. But there is a reward. And it's peace. A quieter mind. A slower breath. A gentler day. I want to offer you a phrase that I've held on to during my own minimalist journey. It's just 4 words, but they've helped me again and again. Make space to feel. Because that's what clutter, physical or emotional, often steals from us. The ability to feel. To process. To connect. To grieve. To celebrate. We are constantly stimulated. Scrolling. Consuming. Rushing. And yet, rarely are we with ourselves. Minimalism reopens that door. When I began to declutter, I didn't expect to cry over a sweater. But I did. Not because I missed it, but because I had been holding onto a version of myself I no longer was. A life I had outgrown, but hadn't said goodbye to. Decluttering isn't always light and breezy. Sometimes it's grieving. Sometimes it's forgiving. Sometimes it's starting over. But there's beauty in that. Because it's real. Because it's honest. Because it's human. And that brings me to the heart of minimalist living. It's not about less. It's about truth. It's about coming home, not to a physical house, but to your own values. Your own heartbeat. Your own soul. You may own fewer things, but you will feel more grounded. You may commit to fewer people, but your relationships will feel more whole. You may choose fewer goals, but they will come from a place of clarity and purpose, not ego and noise. So if you're listening to this and wondering, where do I go from here? Just begin with one question. What's taking up space in my life that no longer serves me? It could be a physical object. It could be a toxic habit. It could be an outdated belief about who you're supposed to be. Whatever it is, name it. And ask yourself, am I willing to let it go? If not now, then when? I want to invite you to something gentle. A ritual. A return. Sometime today. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And whisper to yourself, I deserve a life with space. I am allowed to choose simplicity. I am allowed to live slow and still be powerful. That is minimalism. Not a checklist, but a reclamation. As we truly end today's episode, I want to thank you deeply for choosing to pause with me. There are a million things you could have been doing, and yet you chose this. A space of reflection, of softness, of clarity. And that means everything. Tomorrow, we'll talk about the hidden cost of clutter and how it quietly drains your focus, your energy, your joy. But for now, take a walk. Breathe deep. Let something go. Even if it's just one thought. Until next time. Live simply. Love gently. And remember, less isn't lacking. Less is liberating.